to focus on, I guess, the last 12 months and how leaders have had to adapt. I think the critical thing is when you're working through a screen is being able to still have that understanding of how someone is really doing. So I personally, when I'm having a one-to-one, will say, how are you? And then I'll say, how are you really? And just give them that second follow-up to go, because I think it's very easy to go, oh, I'm fine, yeah. So when you then repeat the question, say, but how are you really? And you leave them the space to answer, you can really understand how people are doing. And I think that's really important as a leader. Whereas before, I think we may be paid lip service to a certain extent to asking how people are. I think we recognize now that everyone's in a different individual situation. Nobody is in the same situation. You've got some people who have got small children running around. You've got some people who are in a flat share that are working on a laptop, sitting on an ironing board. You've got others who are very fortunate to have a much better setup in their home. And I think it's recognizing how everyone is different and understanding those differences and coming back and saying, well, how are the children and how are things at home? And I think that's really important. And I think the other piece is really about how you motivate people during such, what could be a very negative time, both in terms of work performance, but also in terms of, the fact January, I think, was a particularly tough lockdown for everybody. And so, that people are mentally challenged, but also, I think about my team, looking at red trading numbers every day is pretty depressing. And the team feel frustrated that they can't change the figures and there's nothing they can do about them when they normally want to be driving and making changes. But if the demand's not there, it's very difficult to do it. So as a leader, one of the critical things I've been focusing on is saying to the team, don't worry about the red numbers. You can't change the numbers right now. What we can focus on is what are the things we've always wanted to fix? What are the things we wanted to control the controllables? Well, let's look at data, let's look at processes, let's spend our time now fixing the things we've always wanted to do, but we've been too busy doing trading, so that when we do get back to trading, we're in a much stronger position because we've got some of those basics sorted. And so that for me is about how you motivate people when you know that externally, in lockdown and so on, it's very negative. People don't necessarily have particularly if they're living alone, don't have the usual conversations and social side of things. And then at work, when they're then faced with, as I say, kind of red numbers all the time, how we make sure we motivate them. So as a leader, I think it's been a shift in away from BAU to how do we keep everyone feeling positive, feel like they're achieving something even when they're surrounded by what could be quite negative.